Genuine question here. Do you think more likes and followers always mean more clients? Because after writing 5,000 posts, I think I've cracked the code on what really drives results. So stay tuned. I want to teach you and I want you to learn how you can start booking 15 to 30 calls a month, even with a small following. My name is Aman Gatora and I am the co-founder of The Media Engine. Now, before I dive into this 5,000 post lesson, I want to share a quick success story with you, which might surprise you. We recently started working with a 50K a month outbound agency. Amazing at outbound, but they really struggled to generate inbound leads. Now, what happened was that in 40 days, we generated 40 meetings, 200,000 impressions, 3,000 new followers. But the most important metric that I care about is that they added 22,000 in monthly recurring revenue to their business. Now, all of these results came from our experience of writing over 5,000 LinkedIn posts. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I've learned. So you can all implement it, you can all take it away, and you can all put it into your own LinkedIn strategy. The very first lesson that I want to share with you is that likes and followers do not equal clients. Now, this is a lesson that I hard learned back in the day when I was on Twitter, growing my Twitter account through a ghostwriter. And my objective at the beginning was, let's just get a bunch of followers and then I'll convert down the line. So what we did is we posted a bunch of platitude content, a bunch of generic marketing content, and I got to like 2K, 3K followers really quickly, but the follower quality was so poor, was so low that nothing converted into newsletter subs, nothing converted into down funnel action. Now, I've had this exact same lesson on LinkedIn when I watch these huge accounts, 100K followers, 200K followers, and the only thing that they're able to sell is digital products and courses. And the reason is because they never built a truly qualified audience that could monetize with high ticket sales. Now, the difference is that if you don't care about likes and you don't care about followers, you become aware of the problem. And then you're therefore able to create amazing content that actually is qualified for your ICP and that they care about without worrying about the fact that you're not going to get many likes, you're not going to get many comments. When we started Paolo's account, we had a very distinct goal in mind. We knew we didn't want to be a big follower account. We had learned that there's riches in the niches. And what that means is the more focused you are on your audience, the higher quality of the people that will be watching you and the better deals you'll close. So you can just take my word for it, but I want to give you a really specific example to prove this point out. So I'm going to show you two posts over here. The first post got 15 likes. The second post got 49 likes. Which one brought more leads? Of course, it's the one with 15 likes. And the reason why it's so obvious when I look at it, but it might not be obvious to you. When you have a post that gets lots of likes and comments, generally the only reason it does so is for two reasons. It's either controversial, which is awesome, or it's very broad. Now, when a post is very broad, it's accessible to a lot of people in your audience and on the feed. And when that happens, a lot of people can like and comment and engage with it. When a post is very narrow, it doesn't have that effect. You are not able to get everyone to like on it, comment on it, engage with it, because it's not worth it, because it's not for them. Now, when a post is narrow, you only get a handful of likes, maybe 10, 20 comments, maybe 10, 20 likes. So when a post is broad and engagements are coming in, the LinkedIn feed is able to recognize that as single and distribute that more. And again, it's because the post is broad and it's accessible to a lot of people. Now, on the other hand, if you look at a narrow post, if you look at the post that we have over here, the more narrow you are, the more specific you can be. You can call out your ICP and you can call out their transformation. So if we look at this narrow post over here, the hook goes, this 250K a month B2B ads agency adds 40K MRR, signs 3 clients, and gains 5,000 followers in 180 days. Now, that's incredibly specific. We actually even call out the ICP that we helped within the first 2 words. Now, what does that do? It basically turns off anyone that's not a B2B ads agency or not an agency, and it dramatically narrows the reach of that post. But if you are a B2B ads agency with this pain of wanting to grow on LinkedIn, this suddenly becomes extremely relevant for you. You are able to picture yourself in the position of our client, having gone from 0 to 40K MRR additional to their business. Now, this is the key that makes LinkedIn work so well when you're bottom funnel. When you realize that likes and followers don't matter, you're able to be so specific in your hooks and call out your ICP and call out their transformation that you're able to generate leads. So this narrow post that got 15 likes ended up generating 2 leads. That post on the right-hand side, which was very broad, got lots of likes, got lots of engagement, didn't get any leads whatsoever. And you're going to see this all over LinkedIn. If you scroll LinkedIn, there'll be posts with hundreds of likes and comments. I can pretty much tell you now they're not getting leads and they're not getting clients. But the narrow posts, they are. The next big lesson I learned from writing 5,000 posts is the power of lead magnets. Now, a lead magnet if you've seen it on LinkedIn, it's one of those posts where they go, hey, here's this resource, comment and connect, comment, like and connect, and I'll DM it over to you. Now, some people see these posts as salesy, but I see it as a massive opportunity to game the LinkedIn algorithm and to achieve a massive number of impressions. Now, it's not surprising for one of our lead magnets to get anything from 50,000 to 200 to 300,000 impressions from a single post. And the power of lead magnets are incredible. What a lead magnet is it's when you give away a resource that solves some sort of pain point and you allow people to comment and like to access it. Now, what happens is anyone that's commenting and liking is effectively saying, hey, I have that pain point. Hey, that resource is really valuable for me. Can I please have access to it? And so you actually end up creating a semi-qualified list of potential buyers. Now, you could be getting 400, 500 comments, maybe 1,000 comments on your lead magnet. That's incredibly powerful. You can sieve through those lists of comments, you can give them access to the resource, and a few things are happening. One, you're getting a holy crap ton of inbound connection requests, more than you can ever do from your outbound limits. Number two, all these people are now conversating with you in the DMs, so you're able to transition stuff to book calls. And number three, you're able to explode your impressions and your reach. So in this process, more people will know about you, more people will recognize your brand, and as a result, more people will become aware of you and your services. Now, you may be thinking, what's the right lead magnet for me? And that's a really simple problem to solve. Every industry, every niche, every service has a potential of 10, 20, 30, 40 different lead magnet ideas. And the way to think about what a lead magnet idea could be is think about a pain point your customer has and think about what would they pay $100 for a resource to solve that pain point. So for example, if you work with e-commerce brands, they probably would pay $100 for a bunch of CRO templates, a bunch of landing page templates, a CRO checklist, something along those lines. If you work with local businesses, they would guarantee pay for a Google My Business starter pack that could teach them everything they need to know and help them get their first 10, 20, 30 reviews and optimize their visibility. Whatever their pain point is, you can easily come up with a solution in a digital product or a gated form to give to them. Now, I recommend you do a lead magnet once a week to maximize your virality and maximize your impression share. For some people, that's too much. They don't have enough time to create those lead magnets. So then you can go for, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. But personally, on our account, we do once a week. And when I really want to push the ante up, I do twice a week as well. Now, if you're not sold on lead magnets already, I can pretty much tell you that they are responsible for at least $250,000 of growth on our profiles, at least, at a minimum. And the reason why I know this is because without those lead magnets, we wouldn't have got out the cold start problem, and we wouldn't have been able to nurture leads to get them to trust us in the process. So I remember in the first 3-6 months of our agency, I spent every week creating 1 to 2 lead magnets. So I have a bank of 20, 30 lead magnets that I can recycle through, and I'm continually adding to those lead magnets all the time whenever I can because I know of their value and I know how powerful they are. Now, the next big lesson is having an amazing hook. Now, the hook is so important because of how the feed is structured. So if we scroll down the feed, what you inevitably see is a lot of hooks, which have a line break on another line, and then the see more button, and then maybe the image or the graphic. Now, what's happening here is LinkedIn is waiting and using the algorithm to determine how many people click the see more button on your post. When your post gets lots of clicks on the see more button, the post gets distributed more because it implies that people are interested in it. So the most important thing for you to do here is to capture attention. Capture attention in your hook to get people to read the post, to carry out the next action down the line. How do you create an awesome hook is the next obvious question. Now, we have lots of methodologies for this. I'm going to walk you through one of the most basic methodologies that will immediately improve your hook game. Now, your hook game is improved by going from a normal hook to an authority hook, and I'm going to explain what that means. An authority hook is a normal hook that's been baked in with a sense of personal brand or a sense of value. Now, if you want to improve your hook game, you need to start using authority hooks. Authority hooks are when you add a multiplier to an original hook and you transform that hook into something really special. There are 4 multipliers that you can care about: the time multiplier, the status multiplier, the recency multiplier, and the money multiplier. I'm going to walk you through each one. So the time multiplier is when you reference time and the amount of hours or days or weeks it took to do something that you're about to say. So for example, you could say, here's the 7 steps to rank higher on Google, or I could say, it took me 100 hours to learn these 7 steps to rank higher on Google. The latter has baked in authority, it has numbers, it feels, and it punches so much harder. The second one is recency. Instead of saying, here's the 7 steps to rank higher on Google, you can say, in the last 90 days, I used these 7 steps to rank higher on Google. Now, when you add a recency multiplier, you make your post and your hook seem more relevant at this current context in time. Now, that's really important in certain niches where lots of things are changing. So in marketing, for example, everything is always changing all the time. Everyone's looking for the latest hack, the latest way to do things. So a recency multiplier works incredibly well. The next type of multiplier is the money multiplier, and for obvious reasons that works. For example, I earned over 8 million in the last year. Here are the 5 ways I did it. By just stating how much money you made, how much money you invested, you're able to massively magnify the hook of your post to attract people in. And then finally, the authority multiplier. The authority multiplier is used to give status and brand to your hook. So for example, I can say, here's the 7 steps to rank higher on Google, or I can say, here's the 7 steps Ahrefs and the BBC.com used to rank higher on Google. Now, those are very 2 well-known brand names in the space, and therefore they're going to attract more attention. The crux here is you can take a hook to an authority hook by adding in multipliers, and just that simple addition of a few words will dramatically improve the impressions on your post overnight. So do give that a go. If you want to take your LinkedIn growth seriously, you also have to think about the algorithm and what's it favoring. Now on LinkedIn, the algorithm favors comments. So they don't favor likes as much, they don't favor reposts as much, they really favor comments. So what this means is posts that get more comments but less likes still get more impressions. And so what we're trying to do here is, how do we optimize a post to attract more comments? Now you can do this in several ways, and I'm going to give you the 2 most easiest ones to do. So firstly, you can create a controversial post. A controversial post goes against the status quo or creates an enemy out of someone or something. Now, when you do that, you get a bunch of people commenting, arguing, and debating in the feed. Now, what that does, it's really interesting. It basically fuels a bunch of growth and massively increases your impression share. Now, the problem with this is sometimes you don't want to be controversial. The second way you can do it is you can leave comment bait. Comment bait is when you end a post or you create a post in the idea of creating discourse and discussion. So technically a lead magnet, which is where you say comment and connect to access something, is a form of comment bait. But another type is, hey guys, I'm trying to do some research, comment below on what you're thinking. Or we may end a post with, hey guys, what do you agree? What am I missing? Comment below. You're basically encouraging people to leave their thoughts in the feed, and by doing so, increasing the impressions of your post. Now, what I found really interesting beyond anything else is when I do posts that create comments from people that don't usually comment on my posts, or that don't usually comment at all, the impressions skyrocket massively. So if you look at this post over here, you see the impressions are really high for around 100 comments. It's higher than you'd think. And the reason why is, once I looked at all these profiles and who they were commenting on, they don't actually even comment that much. And they've never really commented on my post before. So LinkedIn weighted this very highly. They realized that I had encouraged people to break out their shell, to engage in the feed, and therefore rewarded me with a post that performed even better than usual. So the big takeaway for this section is encourage comments in your posts. And you can do it by 2 ways, being controversial or leaving comment bait. And it works even better when the people commenting on your post are new accounts that really haven't engaged with you before or don't really engage in the feed much already. Now this is a big one. It's formatting for maximum readability within the feed. Now, the importance of readability on LinkedIn is huge. People are scrolling, they're scrolling fast, they're trying to get to information they find interesting. And one of the best ways to capture attention in the feed, stop them in the scroll, is effectively to give them information they can consume very easily. And typically when we want to do formatting, we want to make the first few lines so easy to read, they go into the slippery slope of working through the post and really understanding what the post is about and taking away whatever takeaways you're aiming for. So we work with lots of different post templates. Post templates are how you structure posts, and you don't have to stay exactly to them, but here are, for example, 13 post templates that literally just work on LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you 3 of them that are the most common that you can be using. Now, here's the first one that's very common. It's the listicle style. The listicle style has a hook, and then it goes through 1 to 5, 1 to 7 points. And under each point, it gives away either a paragraph or a bullet point. Now, why this works so well is your hook is typically already short, and then your very first bullet is also short. So the very first 3 lines are quite short, quite succinct, quite tidy. And what that means, it's very easy to get to the 3rd line, click the see more button. By the time you get to the 3rd line, you want to also tease them in, and you can either do this with a paragraph, and we typically do paragraphs when we want to have a meatier explanation, one that gets people really interested who are qualified. Or we go for bullet points where we want people to still continue to fall down the slippery slope. So the bullet ones over there where we have, how B2B consultants are closing 6 figures from LinkedIn, 4 things, authentic, they've all got really experience. Like those 4 lines create the slippery slope. And on the other side, the paragraphs, how to book calls from LinkedIn with whale leads. I'm going to explain 3 core concepts, multi-threading, and then I go into this paragraph. It's designed to create a feeling of high perceived value. So you can use listicles to achieve either slippery slope or high perception. The second style that works really well is the this versus that style. So a this versus that style typically compares 2 things. So you can go, here's my hook, here's A and here's a bunch of bullet points, and here's B and here's a bunch of bullet points. So for example, Paolo's post was, I talked to at least 15 agency owners. These are the things they have in common, and there's a bunch of bullets, and they all struggle with, here's a bunch of bullets. Now, what we found is when you try to compare more than 2 things, it gets a little bit difficult and it ends up being more cognitive overloaded for the reader. So when you stick to a this versus that, an A versus B post, it typically tends to outperform A versus B versus C post. So in this style, you want to go for 2 main ideas, you want to compare and contrast them, and you want to go with a bunch of bullets beneath them. Now, if you're not into listicles or lots of bullets, you can go for a storytelling post. Storytelling posts typically take the form of context, learnings, and then takeaway. Now, what I mean by that is you can start off with this post, which is what's working on LinkedIn. I then explain the context, like we're working on 40 accounts, they range from CEOs. Here are 3 things you should be thinking about. This is me baking in all the context. And then I give all the learnings, which is the 3 main sections, in a listicle style. So competency statements, proving your hook, and micro offers. And then to the end, I give away almost a takeaway. I'm like, hey, look, now you've learned all these things. Here's what you can implement now in your business. And this wraps the post up. A storytelling post, you're allowed to be more creative. You're allowed to go around with the post a bit more. But typically they all follow the format of context, learnings, and takeaway. And you can choose to even write those words, context or backstory, lessons or turnings, and then finally takeaway or conclusions. And that really helps structure the post so it makes it really easy to read. Again, the main thing we're trying to do with post templates is create a slippery slope. We want people to fall into the post to make it really easy for them to get into the meat of it. And once they're in, they're going to start reading. Now, if you're doing all of these things, you're already 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 out of the way. And the last final piece is tracking what's working. You need to understand and recognize, hey, when I do a post this way, when I do a carousel this way, when I do a format or a hook this way, it tends to work better. And when you see that resonance, you double down. You do those posts a bit more frequently. You still keep testing other ones, but you're doing that one a bit more frequently because you want to grow that impression number a little bit. Now, whilst you're doing this, you need to keep a contrast in mind. Are these posts that are getting more impressions, that are getting a bit more traction, are they generating inbound deal flow? So what you want to be doing is you want to be thinking, hey, let me post for 10 days and let me see my 10-day lag on meetings booked. Cancel that one. What we typically see is some posts immediately book in calls. They're the case study posts. And some posts as a collective, as a group of 5 or 7 posts, tend to lag and result in calls booked in the next week. So you want to make a bunch of posts, measure the performance daily, and then the week after think, hey, did that batch of posts previously correlate to something that was happening in my booked calls or my inbound DMs? You want to be really thinking about what are the metrics that are moving across from the impressions into the bottom funnel actions. You also want to be thinking about which posts generate you more comments and more inbound DMs. So I have certain posts that are controversial or are really useful, and I tend to get lots of people DMing me saying, oh, I really enjoyed that post, that was super useful. I know I've hit a nail there. That's a really valuable DM to receive. And I recognize that these are resonant ideas that exist in market that I need to be pushing out more. So if you want to start booking 15 to 30 calls a month from LinkedIn for your business, for your personal brand, here's the next things that you can do. Firstly, you can scroll down to the description and you can book in a call with my team, and we'll use this session to strategize what's going to work for you. We're going to work out the content pillars, work out the strategy, and give you an estimate of timeline. What does it take for you to get the results that you're looking for? The second thing you can do if you want to do this yourself is you can scroll down and get my lead magnet. The second thing you can do is scroll down. I've given away a resource on the 13 post templates, which I showed earlier in the video, which you can also have access to. In those post templates, I give away the ideas, and then I also give some example posts so that you can really see how it operates in real life. So that's for you. I hope that was valuable, and let me know in the comments below what else you would like to see.